Hi, today I'd like to discuss something that you're not going to hear very often, which is personal and private information about how we do business in a manner that should help you. I'm going to give away a little bit of our supply chain today. A lot of people have asked us since we stopped selling iPhone, iPad, iPod parts, where do we buy these from? Or at the very least, if we won't give that away, if we will still sell to them. Now, I don't want to sell parts anymore. I like fixing things. I like making money. I don't want to make like little dollars and cents. I want to actually make hundreds of dollars off of the work that I do, which is why, unfortunately, I have refused to sell parts to people even when they've asked me nicely. I'm very sorry if you're included in that. But what I do want to do is tell you where you can get stuff that is the same quality as what we were selling, and I'm going to do that today. The vendor's name is Jack Telecom. I'm going to put their sales manager and their email information right up here so that you can contact them as soon as you're done watching this video. And I'm going to explain why you should purchase from them over others. I'm going to explain why we prefer their parts. I'm going to explain why I ignore the sales pitches of most of the people who walk into my store trying to sell me iDevice parts. And I'm going to explain to you why you should spend a little bit extra to buy something that's good. The reason that I like their parts above all is that there is not just quality, but there is a consistency in quality, meaning I never have to deal with this batch is bad, that batch is bad, or oh, these were all great, but I had 2 or 3 defects here in a row. I like them because whatever it is I'm buying, I avoid the problems that other people encounter. For example, iPad parts. It's very common for people to say, oh, this broke and I barely did anything while installing it. My customers from my supply business never pulled that shit on me because you just have to feel this part in your hand to notice that you have to throw this thing at a wall to break it. You're not going to break this just putting it into an iPad. These parts are so good that you could probably dent out corners with this instead of using a flathead screwdriver. I'm being, a little facetious here, but you get the idea. These things are strong, and all you have to do is hold this in your hand compared to some glass that costs 10 or 15 bucks to realize that it's strong. I don't test iPads anymore before we put the adhesive strips down. The techs here are so confident that this shit will work the first time that they put the adhesive strips down, they blow out the dust, they put this on there before even testing that the swipe works, because we have that type of confidence where we know that every time I put this into an iPad, it's just going to work. Can you imagine having that type of confidence? Can you imagine not even having to test your parts before you put them in? That's what we do here with these. Now, let's go on to iPhone screens. You're probably used to getting iPhone screens in these shitty little bubble bags that, half of them are popped when you take it out of the box. And that, admittedly, that is a big part of why these things become defective in shipping to the States. Well, when you go to Jack Telecom, you get a corrugated box for each and every part. Inside the corrugated box, you will see custom fit packaging specifically for that product. So for an iPhone 5 screen, not only is the cable laid out all the way, but there's even a little indent made for it and padding on each side of the cable to make sure that it is not moved or fucked with in any way on its way to the United States. Further, this is several layers of strong styrofoam. There's 2 pieces here and then there's also this cover in addition, that keep it from moving around in the box and that absorbs shock while it is in the box. For iPhone 4 screens, you'll see that they have a box that's corrugated, then bubble wrap, then an anti-static bag, which is all form-fitted to the product. So when you're shipping a lot of these for 7, 8, or 9,000 miles, it's very easy for them to get jostled, but they're not going to get jostled in this type of packaging. See, the reason that I value this is because we don't make money off of iPhone repair. We make money off data recovery. We make money off of motherboard repair. We make money off of MacBook Air screen repair. We make money off of high-value services. We do iPhone repair as advertising. So, when I tell somebody this is going to take 5 to 20 minutes, I do not want to walk back here having to get another part, having to redo the repair again, because I need to be doing other shit that makes me money, not this crap where you make 40 to 60 bucks per repair. So I need this to work the first time. And when I need something to work right the first time, who do I trust? Jack Telecom. Now, let me talk about some of the sales pitches that people use when they walk in here trying to sell me their own parts. They'll say, well, put your part next to this and tell me if you notice a difference. And they'll have 2 motherboards with the same picture loaded. I'm sure you get a lot of these where people will say, here's a sample, just try it out. And you know what? A lot of the times, the picture will actually look identical to the one that I have. I don't care, because image quality is not the only way that I'm going to judge your part, but what you're trying to do is sell me on the fact that the image quality is the same in the sample, so why don't you just buy it right now? Image quality is one of many characteristics that I care about. What I care about, as I said, is defect rate. So for example, according to my Google Doc, over the past 1,365 iPhone 4 and 4S screens that we have used, we have had 10 defects. That is insane. That is so low. That is ridiculous. That is under 1%, and that is a defect rate that you're just not going to find with other places. Now, when you use original parts and you put them together properly and you package them like this, yes, you are going to get that type of low defect rate. That's what I care about. Again, as I've said in other videos, I don't care that you can get the 3-point shot once from half court. I care about whether you can do that consistently. And when you send me one sample, that tells me nothing of your consistency. The other things that I cannot test instantly are things like the quality of the adhesive used. The quality of the adhesive used to actually hold this together is something you're not going to be able to tell instantly unless the part is made like crap. Now, why should I care about adhesive? Well, let's say somebody puts this phone out on a table in their backyard in the middle of the summer and the sun is beating down. And let's say they pick it up and the glass falls out. Guess who they're going to blame? You. And guess why you're to blame? Because you decided to save $2 to $5 on buying your iPhone screen. So what they did in order to get a perfect screen is they decided to compromise elsewhere. They decided to compromise in the adhesive used to hold it together. Now let's say that they use a glass that's thicker than the original glass on it. Now, you only have a certain amount of space to fit this into the phone. So if the glass is thicker, you got to compromise somewhere. What they will do is they'll compromise on the adhesive. They'll use a thinner adhesive, which means the glass is now closer to the screen. And if the glass is closer to the screen, when you touch the screen, you will start to see colors exploding because the glass is touching the screen. Very common on the 4 and 4S parts that are low-grade pieces of shit. When you touch it, do you see colors exploding, or do you have to smash your finger on there to see colors exploding? On Jack Telecom parts, you have to smash your finger onto the screen to see colors exploding. The same as on the original, because it's as good as the original. The LCD flex cable, another thing. If somebody's holding the screen like this, of course it's going to work. Do you know how many shit screens that we've had where all we did was fold it into the phone and the screen just stopped working right then and there? These are all things that you cannot judge based on having one sample. These are things that you can only judge based on having 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 samples. And over the past 4 to 5 years, I have dealt with many vendors, and I've purchased 10 to 20,000 of these parts from these different vendors, and I've kept track of their defect rate, so that I've done the research here, and now I'm giving away the information, so that you don't have to buy 10 to 20,000 screens from each one of these different vendors to figure out what it is for yourself. I've done the research. So go ahead, go email this email, and start buying stuff from Jack Telecom. Save yourself the misery of having to deal with this shit. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've probably gotten a price list from them where they say an iPhone 4 screen right now is like 22 or 23 bucks, and your local vendor, LCD Recycle or eCycle or Berry Cycle or whatever the fuck these companies are called nowadays, are selling to you for maybe $1 more than this vendor, or $2 more from this vendor. Let's say you're paying 25 or 26 to go to recycled screens or whatever. Now, I want you to think about some very basic math here. The source is selling me a perfect part for $23. The middleman is selling it for $24 to $25. There are two possible options here. The middleman is willing to make only $1 per sale, or the middleman is buying a $15 screen to sell to you for $25 so he can actually make some money. Which do you think is more likely? The more likely one is the one that is correct. They are buying the $15 to $17 shit in order to resell it to you for $24 to $27. So, buying from China here, I'm not trying to get you to just save money. I'm trying to get you to get a higher quality good. I'm trying to get you a better quality part. And that's what you are going to get. I don't want you to just go to China with the idea that I'm going to save $1,000 to $2,000 a month off of buying from China instead of buying from my local supplier. And I always discourage people from going crazy to save $1 or $2 or $3 here and there. There are so many businesses that will beat their dick off about how I save $1 or $2 a piece when their profit margins are 100 to 500%. If you're a wholesaler, yes, you should give a shit about saving $1 or $2 here, because that $1 or $2 here may very well be 100% profit to you. But when you're taking a $40 part and turning it into $100, give a shit if it's $37 or $40. Give a shit when it's $20 versus $80. Give a shit when it's $60 versus $200. Don't give a shit when it's $23 versus $25. Who cares? Don't think of it as just trying to save money. Think of it as getting a higher end product. Now, on to why you should care. Because Jack Telecom may actually be more expensive than the Chinese vendor you're using now. They are one of the more expensive Chinese vendors. So if you're price shopping, might as well just stop this video right here. Why you should care? Well, let's say you save $1 per screen, and let's say that you fix 10 of these per day, and let's say that comes out to $300 a month. Now let's say just one of these customers has the adhesive come off because they put their phone on the table in their backyard and it fell out of their phone. All it takes is one of these people to decide, I'm not going to go back to them, but instead of go back to them, I'm going to be mad and badmouth them to everybody I know. Now let's say one of these people out of the 100 that he badmouths you to says, I was going to go there to spend $300 to get my liquid damage fixed, but now I'm not going to do it. That $300 that you just lost from that customer completely counters all of the cost savings that you did from buying from the cheaper vendor. Again, we use iPhone repair here as advertising. This is not revenue to me. I don't care about making $40 or $50 a couple of times a day when I have a business that costs me $20,000 a month to run. What I care about is getting the jobs that make $200, $300, and $400 in, and I'm going to get those jobs based on happy customers with this stuff. And how do I keep these people happy? By using good quality stuff. Don't go and buy the cheapest $15 to $17 shit. Spend a couple of dollars extra to get something that's actually going to make people happy. I have done the work already. I have done the purchasing. I have bought from almost all of these vendors at one point in time, and we've been doing this for a very long time. And I, on occasion, am actually the person that is screwing or adhesing this stuff into a customer's device. And I wouldn't lead you wrong. So, again, one last time, here's the email address for iPad, iPhone, and iPod parts. Please email, please tell them that Rossman sent you, and please tell them that you want to get the same parts that Lewis is buying and referring to in this video. The good stuff, the stuff that works, the stuff that will keep your customers happy, and the stuff that may even save you some money off of the vendor that you're buying from now.